December 5th, 1945. At 2:10 p.m., 5 TBM Avenger torpedo bombers lift off from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It's a routine training exercise, Flight 19, led by an experienced pilot, Lieutenant Charles C. Taylor. But about 2 hours into the flight, something goes terribly wrong. The first radio transmissions are tinged with confusion. Taylor reports that both of his compasses are malfunctioning. He believes they are over the Florida Keys, hundreds of miles from where they should be. On the ground, operators listen as the messages become more fragmented. Taylor's voice is heard saying, "Everything is wrong, strange. The ocean doesn't look as it should." Then, silence. The tragedy deepens when a PBM Mariner flying boat with a 13-man crew is dispatched to search for them. It radios its mission is underway, and then it too is never heard from again. 27 men, 6 aircraft, erased without a trace. This is the story that cemented a dark patch of the Atlantic in our nightmares, the Bermuda Triangle. The story of Flight 19 is the stuff of legend, but it's just one of many. Over 50 ships and 20 aircraft are said to have vanished within the triangle's loosely defined boundaries, an area stretching from Florida to Bermuda to Puerto Rico. They disappear without a mayday, without a trace, leaving nothing but questions. For years, we've looked to the paranormal for answers, to alien abductions, sea monsters, and portals to other dimensions. But a steady drumbeat of scientific analysis claims there's no mystery left to solve. The science tells us to look closer at the world we think we know. It points to a perfect storm of violent weather, navigational quirks, and simple human error. The scientific explanation is clean, logical, and backed by data. But can it truly account for every ship that sailed into the unknown? The unsettling answer is that while science explains what's probable, some stories are so strange, they keep the legend alive and thriving. For as long as the legend has existed, a parallel effort has been underway to dismantle it. For every author writing about otherworldly forces, there's been a scientist, an insurer, or a naval officer looking for a rational cause. And that effort has reached a clear consensus, backed by formidable institutions like the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, and the world's leading insurance market, Lloyd's of London. Their conclusion? There is no mystery. A leading voice in this re-evaluation is Australian scientist Carl Kruszelnicki. For years, he has argued that the Triangle's fearsome reputation is a product of sensationalism and bad math. He points out a simple yet often overlooked fact. The Bermuda Triangle is one of the most heavily trafficked regions on the planet. It's a massive aquatic highway. When you have more traffic, you're going to have more accidents. Kruszelnicki's crucial point, supported by statistical analysis from Lloyd's of London, is that when you look at the percentage of disappearances relative to the sheer volume of traffic, the Bermuda Triangle is no more dangerous than any other well-traveled part of the ocean. In fact, Lloyd's of London doesn't charge higher insurance premiums for vessels charting a course through the region, a telling sign from an industry that prices risk down to the decimal point. So if it's not a paranormal vortex, what is it? Science offers a potent cocktail of 3 main ingredients: a uniquely treacherous environment, rare navigational anomalies, and the unavoidable reality of human error. First, the environment. The geography is tricky, dotted with countless islands and vast stretches of shallow water over coral reefs. But the real danger comes from the water and the sky. The Triangle is a battleground of weather systems. The Gulf Stream, a powerful current of warm water, flows through the region and can trigger sudden violent storms with little warning. These aren't just typical storms. They can manifest as rogue waves, monstrous walls of water reaching heights of 100 feet, powerful enough to swamp a massive ship in an instant. Second, there are the navigational challenges. For centuries, sailors have noted strange compass behavior. Historically, the Bermuda Triangle was a place where magnetic compasses could cause confusion. It's one of the few places where magnetic north and true geographic north could align, a feature known as an agonic line. For an unprepared navigator accustomed to compensating for the difference, this could be enough to send a vessel or plane miles off course. While this agonic line has since shifted and modern GPS makes it a non-issue, it may have played a role in historical disappearances. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, is human error. The official U.S. Navy and Coast Guard position is that when you strip away the fiction, most incidents can be chalked up to the combined forces of nature and human fallibility. In a high-traffic area prone to sudden storms and navigational quirks, one bad decision can be fatal. This scientific explanation is comprehensive and logical. It paints a picture not of a paranormal vortex, but of a uniquely challenging piece of the ocean where the known laws of physics are more than enough to explain the tragedies. Case closed. Or is it? Science may offer a neat and tidy explanation, but the lore of the Bermuda Triangle wasn't built on statistics. It was built on stories. Chilling stories that seem to defy rational explanation. These are the tales that cemented the Triangle's place in our collective nightmares. And while Flight 19 is the most famous, another behemoth met a similarly confounding fate decades earlier, the USS Cyclops. The USS Cyclops was a 542-foot collier used to transport coal for the U.S. Navy. In March of 1918, during World War I, the Cyclops was sailing from Brazil to Baltimore with 306 crew and passengers. The ship made an unscheduled stop in Barbados on March 4th and then steamed out into the Atlantic. It was never seen again. No distress call was received. No wreckage was ever found. Initially, it was assumed a German submarine was to blame, but German records later confirmed no U-boat engagement. The ship and its 306 souls had simply vanished, becoming the single largest loss of life in U.S. naval history outside of combat. This story is another bedrock of the legend. It's one thing for a ship to sink in a storm. It's another for it to vanish so completely that it seems to mock our understanding of the world. This is where the two realities of the Bermuda Triangle collide. The cold logic of science versus the unsettling details of the supernatural tales. Let's revisit our two cases, Flight 19 and the USS Cyclops, and see how they fit at this crossroads. For Flight 19, the scientific explanation is a tragic but understandable chain of events. The Navy's investigation pointed to pilot error compounded by severe weather. Lieutenant Taylor, though experienced, was new to the area and had a history of getting lost. When his compasses failed, a known possibility, he likely became disoriented and led his squadron further out into the Atlantic. As for the rescue plane, the PBM Mariner was notoriously nicknamed the Flying Gas Tank for its proneness to explosions. A tanker in the area later reported seeing a massive explosion in the sky, which seems to provide a clear, tragic answer. The lack of wreckage is attributed to the violent sea and the ocean's immense depth, but the supernatural narrative pushes back. It asks, why did all the compasses reportedly malfunction at once? Proponents of the mystery latch onto the flight leader's words that the ocean doesn't look as it should, taking them as evidence of something truly anomalous. And then there's the sheer, improbable totality of the disappearance. 6 military aircraft gone without a single confirmed piece of debris. This is where theories of alien abduction, popularized in films like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, take root. The case of the USS Cyclops follows a similar pattern. The scientific community has several theories, with structural failure being the most likely. The Cyclops was carrying a heavy load of manganese ore, and there were reports that one of her engines was damaged. The theory goes that in a sudden storm, the overloaded and compromised ship simply broke apart and sank rapidly, explaining the lack of a distress call. But again, the mystery narrative finds this lacking. How does a 542-foot naval vessel sink so quickly that not one of the 306 people on board could send a message? The completeness of the disappearance fuels the speculation. Here, theories turn to the alleged energy fields of the triangle, sometimes linked to the lost city of Atlantis. Proponents like author Charles Berlitz suggested that leftover Atlantean energy crystals on the seafloor could periodically activate, disabling ships and planes. The USS Cyclops in this view. So, has the Bermuda Triangle mystery finally been solved? The scientific answer is a resounding yes. Decades of data analysis have successfully demystified the region, stripping away the supernatural veneer to reveal a confluence of predictable, if dangerous, forces. High traffic volumes, volatile weather, treacherous geography, and human error are enough to account for the incidents. The work of scientists like Karl Kruszelnicki and the official stances of NOAA and the U.S. Navy provide a compelling argument that there's nothing paranormal about this patch of ocean. And yet, the legend endures. It persists because the stories are more powerful than the statistics. The image of Flight 19 flying into oblivion, the ghost of the USS Cyclops on an eternal, silent voyage. These narratives tap into a fundamental human fear of the unknown. They remind us that our planet still holds dark corners on the map where answers aren't easily found. The truth of the Bermuda Triangle may not be a clash between science and the supernatural after all. Perhaps it's a clash between two types of terror, the fear of the unknown, of aliens and ancient curses, versus the fear of the known, the terror of a rogue wave appearing from nowhere, the horror of a simple mistake leading to certain doom, the chilling realization that in the face of nature's raw power, a ship can be swallowed whole, leaving nothing behind. Which is the more terrifying truth? That is a question you have to answer for yourself. What do you believe is the real secret of the Bermuda Triangle? Is it case closed by science, or does a deeper mystery endure? Let us know your theories in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you find this clash between chilling mysteries and hard science as fascinating as we do, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. We dive into the world's greatest enigmas every week, and you won't want to miss what's next.